It's Jason with Michigan Ski Report. We're here at Bill and Paul's today doing a piece on boot fitting and why it's a good idea to not only get your boots fit properly, but something to think about is building a good relationship with a specialty shop so that you can come back to, you can get your boots tweaked later if you need to, and somebody that can help you out with all your needs.
So, why are you looking for new boots?
The old boots that I have are, I wouldn't necessarily say they're worn out, but they're really stiff, super uncomfortable, and just not, I don't think they're really doing my skiing any good anymore. So
How old are they?
Probably about 8 years old. So super stiff, old race boot.
And when you say they're giving you problems, what type of issues are you having?
Really tight. The one, like my right foot, is really tight. Left foot is fine, but they're just really super uncomfortable. And
My
really
guess is
stiff.
you probably bought them for racing or something like
for
that.
For race
at some
application,
point.
it was back when I was racing, and now kind of switching over more, probably I would say even in the past 5 years, more free ride emphasis.
High performance.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
something
Yep,
like that.
all
Okay,
over the place.
Well, step over this way.
Okay.
And believe it or not, the first thing I want to have you do is just slip off your shoes for me.
Sure. So you want to make fun of my feet?
Yeah. If there's anything to be made fun of, then it gives me an idea of the type of boot we can look at in terms of the shape of the mold. So, So now, where do you ski? How often are you skiing? What types of runs do you like, or conditions?
All over the place. Primarily in Michigan, a little bit out west, but not a ton. So mostly in the Midwest, up north, and all over the place in terms of all over the mountain, all over the ski hill. Not a ton in terms of park and pipe, a little bit, but mostly free ride, hard and fast.
What skis are you using?
I've got a pair of High Society 179 free rides, so just a twin tip all mountain ski.
Okay, cool.
If you have custom footbeds already, it's a good idea to bring them along with you for the boot fitting process. We'll touch on that a little bit later in the video.
Okay, so I've got a couple of boot models in mind, but before we get started, the first question I've got is, do you ski in something besides the white cotton socks?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's a very important part of the boot system. So I've got a basket of try-on socks if you'd like, or if you need new socks, this is a good time to get them. It's going to make the fit feel better.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever, I mean, really whatever you prefer.
Okay. Let me have you try on a pair of these control fits from Bridgedale.
Okay.
This is sort of a lightweight, all-purpose sock. It's not super skinny. It provides some good insulation, but it isn't going to take up a lot of space in the boot.
All right.
And I love the pants you're wearing. At least you're not in the skinny jeans.
Nah, I
Those
can't
would
stand
make
the
it
skinny
tough
jeans.
to fit boots. I don't mind the look, but the boot fitter can be. Okay, so go ahead and stand up. Have you put your right foot, put your heel back tight, and we're just going to grab a size here. So you're in the 27.5, and I'm going to measure your other foot. Most people have a little different size on both feet, and that is just a hair shorter. So, okay, so the two boots that I have in mind for you to try first are going to be the Hot Rod 85.
Okay.
Kind of a high intermediate to expert level boot for all mountain skiing. Hot Rod is their all-purpose last, so it's a little more room, but still a close fit. And then the other boot is the Solomon Impact 8 Custom Shell.
Okay.
This boot's pretty cool. We're going to talk about custom shaping boots probably in our conversation, but instead of me having to go back there, heat up the boot and pound it out, this plastic, when warm, will actually shape by the shape of your foot.
By itself?
By itself, yeah.
Okay.
So the fact that you were telling me you have problems with the feel against the side of the foot,
Yep.
you can get that tight fit, but have that extra space you need in there for the shape of your
Okay.
foot. So I'm going to run back and grab a couple of boots and be right back.
Cool.
So we'll start with the Nordica.
Okay.
We're going to work with your larger foot, which is your right. And the first thing I'm going to do is what's called a shell fit.
Okay.
So we're going to remove the liner. And place it down there. And now you just slide your foot in there and move your foot forward until your toes just bump the front of the shell.
I'd say it's there about right now.
Okay. And then bend your knee forward for me. What I'm looking for behind the heel is roughly a finger, finger and a half for a performance level skier like yourself. If you were a little more recreational, I'd be looking for just a little more room than that. And if you told me you were racing and wanted, you know, that racer fit, then it's trying to squeeze one finger back there. And what I have is exactly that much space, so we're liking the shelf fit length.
Okay.
Now what I want to do is have you bring your heel to the back of the boot.
Okay.
And twist your foot to the outside of the shell.
To the right?
To the right, yep. Sure. And what I'd like is about a finger width around the foot. And I'm also checking to see, and we talked a little bit about support. Your ankle bone is nice and tight against the plastic here, which potentially would be an uncomfortable experience after skiing. When you get on that insole, that'll change quite a bit. If it does continue to bother you, if you've ever had problems there, that's one of the areas that we do a lot of shell shaping. So I've got the space in there. So the initial shell fit looks good. So you can go ahead and put your foot out.
Okay. Boots play an instrumental part in your skiing. By dropping in your custom footbed, you're already stepping into a boot that has a semi-custom fit to it. Your foot can then become completely supported in the boot where it may not have been with the stock footbed.
All right, so as you slide your foot into the boot, you should feel your toes up against the front of the liner there. And we're only going to work with the top two buckles.
Okay.
In a new boot, all we want is your ankle held down. If I buckled those toe buckles, I wouldn't be able to have you move and settle into the boot. So at this point, I want you to just flex in and out of that boot a couple of times. And that's just simply bending your knee to the floor. And as you're doing that, you should feel those toes pull back off the front of the liner just a little bit.
Yep, absolutely.
But when you stand back up, are they going back and bumping?
Yep, they're back up and bumping again.
So that may feel tight to some people who don't ski a lot.
Right.
You obviously are spending some time on the hill, so if I started with a fit that you didn't have that pressure on the toe, you're going to end up with a boot that's too big, and you're going to end up over buckling, and you're going to create problems because it's too comfortable in the beginning.
Okay. When you're in your boots, they should feel snug but not overwhelmingly tight. It's important to let your tech know of any pressure points or uncomfortable spots so that these areas can be addressed now rather than dealing with them on the hill.
Both boots, pretty much any boot over about $250 is going to give us the ability to heat mold these liners.
Okay.
The more expensive a boot is, the better the set in the liner, but what that does is...
So you mean like from the factory, better the set, or what do you mean by?
No, the better your pressure of your ankle bone will hold into the liner.
Okay.
So we're dealing with boots here that are custom moldable liners.
Okay.
And that just takes away maybe the first day or two of ski time in terms of how comfortable the boot can get.
Sure, kind of that break-in type period there. By having two different manufacturers' boots on, I'm able to identify the differences between them. Although the Salomon wrapped my foot better, it was a touch stiffer, which presented a couple pressure points not found in the Nordica.
Sure. At this point, I'm going to bring these down. In a new boot, really, the first or second buckle with just enough pressure to hold that latch down is all you really want to have to start your ski day with.
Okay. What's the reason behind that?
Packing out.
Okay.
Which is the liner compacting as you ski. Every boot gets bigger every day that you ski it.
Sure.
And if I start where these are, where you need me to come way across to hold your foot still, then when you start skiing and it starts breaking down, you have to go all the way across, and now you're deforming the boot, and you're going to have pressure points that are uncomfortable. You're not going to have blood flow into your toes, so your toes are going to get cold. So if I ask you to close your eyes and pick one of those boots.
Man. I'm actually, in terms of comfort-wise, I'm actually a little more comfortable in the Nordica. In terms of, it's going to sound weird, but like softness, almost more shoe-like, slipper-like, but the Salomon actually feels more solid. But that could be what I'm used to.
Solid from a stiffness, or solid because it's wrapping your foot more anatomically correct.
I almost feel like it's wrapping my foot a little tighter, you know, especially down in this area here.
Okay.
When you're trying boots on, it's important to take some time and walk around in them to give you a better understanding of how each model will feel. Jon had me try on another Nordica model that featured a lower volume liner with a stiffer shell, which is the type of boot I'm actually trying to move away from.
Okay, so you're liking those?
Yeah, they fit really well, especially compared to the last was that Speed Machine we tried on.
Okay.
Definitely more comfortable. Feel pretty good. So
I've had a good selection on your foot. All of them have been close,
okay.
So it's nice to know that this is the best of the bunch.
Right.
If you're good with those, the next step for us is to put those on the hot air machine and get the liners hot.
Okay.
And then have you stand in those for 10 minutes, and the liner will take the imprint of your ankle again. That's going to mimic the first day or two of skiing, so
okay.
when you go out on the hill, it'll be more comfortable.
Helps that break-in period.
Yep.
Okay.
So go ahead and pop those off. And then, did you bring your skis today?
I did not bring them with me.
Okay, well, just keep in mind that this is probably not the same boot sole length as your current boots, and that we or somebody needs to adjust the bindings to the boot sole of your new boot. Okay. All right, so I'll be right back. We're gonna throw these on the heater.
Great.
Okay, you ready for the spot treatment for your feet?
Yeah. Most boot liners can be heat molded, providing you a better fit and feel, especially in the ankle area of your foot. Once Jon heated up the liners, my custom footbeds were dropped in and the boot was put back on.
So for this process, we are going to crank these down pretty good, because
Okay.
we're trying to get a good mold of your...
You want me to stand up at all? Or am I
yeah,
good?
why don't you go ahead and stand up, and once I get these straight, I'll have you once a few times. Okay, and then you're just going to hang out in those for 10 minutes, and if anything starts to bother you or bug you, just let me know.
Okay, cool. A good way to kill time while your boots are setting up is just to walk around the shop, check out some new gear, and get weird looks from all the patrons.
Okay, so that's about 10 minutes. How do they feel?
Feel great. Feel really good. Almost.
No, pressure points. They feel a little more.
No, they feel almost even now. No more pressure up in the toe area. That feels a lot more comfortable. I can wiggle my toes in both boots, so I would say they're really close to each other.
Okay, so we do stand behind our boot fits.
Okay.
I guarantee it. That means two things. First of all, if you're having problems or pain, make sure you come back and see myself or one of the other gang down here.
Okay.
In most cases, we'll just tweak the boot.
Okay.
If we have to punch places out, there's a small fee for that, but we
Mhm.
guarantee that. If I miss the mark, and
Sure.
you hate these after the first 3 days of skiing, you come back and see me, and we'll put you into something else.
Okay.
But I'm very comfortable with the fit. I think you're going to love these boots. So.
Okay, great. Thank you.